Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceFace.Pro for the RaceFace GT3 Sprint Series. A little bit of a slow one. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's going to be an incredible run here at Donington. My name is Stephen Koenig. I would like to take just a little bit of seconds, a little bit greedy on this one, but I've got permission from the higher-ups. For many people that know, in terms of the world of commentary in motorsport, there's always those big names that you hear on the TVs and around the tracks, especially around the track, when you go sit down. Well, today we have to say farewell to a commentator. The only way to describe him is an incredible legend, an incredible voice, and you would have heard him multitude of times over the years, whether it's be at the beautiful circuits of Zwartkops, Kyalami, Midval, and so many more. A person that has been synonymous with the world of motorsport and a very, very personal friend of myself and a mentor to me. I'd like to just take this time and opportunity and a big thank you to RaceFace and all sponsors to give us time from behalf of sim racing in the entirety of the world in South Africa. We'd like to say farewell to an absolute legend who not only jump-started a lot of people's careers in the world of motorsport, in commentary. If it wasn't for himself and Sean Woodgate, I wouldn't be here on the microphone joining you guys for anything. So, to John Whitfield, on behalf of RaceFace.Pro and the entire sim racing community, we'd like to say a massive thank you to you for your services, for how much you have done in the world of motorsport,
yes,
and how much you have gone and pushed people forward to be the best that they can be. John Whitfield, about 3 o'clock this morning, passed away in his sleep peacefully and is out of pain. And many would know that I use the same. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody. Meet the person who made it actually happen and that saying come to life. On a personal note, John Whitfield, thank you. If it wasn't for you giving a 12-year-old kid a chance to get on the microphone because you needed a toilet break, I wouldn't be where I am today. And being in front of this amazing, absolutely amazing virtual grandstand. To the entire Whitfield family and friends, on behalf of sim racing, we're behind you. We're with you. And we'll always remember you. That being said, John was very simple and doesn't like shouting. So, with that being said, let me do it properly and the way he would always want it to be. So let's run it back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series, where we're going to be having a bit of fun here at Donington. And this is round one. This is the first round of the 2025 racing season here at RaceFace.Pro. Yes, you heard me right. We have waited so long to get to this point, and it has been a long road for many, many drivers taking this opportunity to be here and be a part of it. And this is where we get to see all the amazing racing going side by side, because it's a 45-minute sprint race that is going to rely on some proper side-by-side action. No pit stops, no change of tires, no refueling. It used to be the practice for everyone. Well, now we get to see it all in action. While we got the grids still getting to the track, guys rolling their cars out, I'm going to ask, if possible, if we can have a moment of silence for John Whitfield and everything that he has done through it. Thank you, everybody. All right, well, that being said, taking a look down from my commentary box, I do see cars starting to make their way out onto the track and get ready for racing. So thanks again, John, and welcome to RaceFace.Pro, folks. Huge thank you to everyone in the virtual grandstands. Cameron Bastos coming and being around. We've also got Cameron Nell going and joining. Been nice to see him as well. Herman, great to see you, and big thank you. Antonio Gamble, the constant chats and being there in the virtual grandstands. Thank you very much. Simon Bukes also putting in a good word. Thank you very much. And everything will be passed to the entire Whitfield family and friends. So thank you very much, everybody. Really do appreciate it. Once again, thank you to all the sponsors in RaceFace. But out on the track, this is Donington. Drivers are making their way around the circuit. We've got quite a few different drivers here. Brandon Kruger will be out on the track, ready to have a bit of fun. We have got the likes of Dean Nokia, who is currently circulating around the circuit to get themselves ready to rock and roll. Good to see him out there. Michael Donaldson out on track, currently running in third place. Then we've got Tianis Buerta going to be charging around. Herman, who we saw actually going and saying how's it, is going to be out on the track for the Griffin Sim Racing. PWSR, OG all coming in. Richard van Heerde going and getting back behind the wheel, and he's looking forward to his racing season in IRL as well. Hopefully not going and flying. Tristan Herbs, fellow commentator, out on track this time in a Mustang compared to the Audi R8 he was previously in. Kerry Bukes out on track. For the Stinger Racing, looking to charge his way around. Jeffrey LaRue, a new name coming into the top running of it. So Daniel Rowe also making his way around the circuit. Good to see. Good number of drivers all being part of the show, coming in, enjoying the racing season. Now, Donington, always difficult circuit, lots of twists, lots of turns, lots of camber changes. Does require you to be quite on the ball and quite focused on what you need to do. How you're going to get that climb up through the ladder is always the aim of the game, especially for qualifying. You want to start in first place. It means it lines you up perfectly into turn one to ensure that you don't have any issues. But on turn, if you're in second, you can quite easily run out wide and have the entire field passing on the inside. Kerrick Bukes putting himself into... Kerrick Bukes, I do apologize, puts himself into first place with Herman into second for the Apex Titans Racing. And both running in the 126, high 126s around the circuit. Christoph Peterson returning to the circuit. This time, a little bit different to what he usually runs. So he always lands up racing the Honda for many, many years. He even races the Honda in another international league, and this time he is pitching up in the Mercedes. First time. He's been trying it out over the course, hasn't been quite happy with it, took the plunge for the logistical nightmare racing, and is going on for it. Absolutely incredible sort. Taking a look at a couple of the comments as well. Samir Bukes going and saying Sean Woodgate is a great commentator. That is very, very true. And honestly, Sean Woodgate and John Whitfield got me into commentary. Both of them needing a toilet break and both of them needing going and having a cigarette outside. Yes, the Honda, well, it's a Acura NSX if you're in America and a Honda if you're in anywhere else. So, We have also got Rowan van der Walt, the Sky Tempest Racing, having a bit of a go out there. Christoph Peterson putting in the best time, a 126.2 this time out. And we've got Michael Donaldson running into 4th place, getting a little bit of a slide at the moment, catching it right at the last. Rowan van der Walt trying to chase him down. A new name to the grid is Mambelo Mikado. I do apologize if I got that wrong. I do want to try and get that right over the course of the time, so we looking forward to seeing what he's able to do this time around. And being a new name to the grid, lying in 7th is not a bad spot. Just Nerves up into 6th place on his run out for the Omnius Gaming team. Jason Farmer currently in 8th place, and Jason Farmer usually has quite a contingent following with him as the Griffin Sim Racing team. Panassi Simcade, Duan van Skalkbeek coming and jumping into the field. Also, Dene van Skalkbeek coming into the field. New name as well. Jeffrey LaRue going to be blasting around the circuit. Tianas Buerta, a long-standing name in the world of RaceFace.Pro. This time, switching out his team of previous, which was Hybrid Racing, and has gone to Pandasti. There's a lot of big driver changes, folks, so there is going to be lots to cover over the course of it. Chris Colson running in 13th, Henry Platt running in 14th and taking out the sign as well. Tyre Change sitting in pits, Rich Fanier out on track, Connor Bergstrom returning to the circuit. Brandon DeSantos will be charging around for the Griffin Sim Racing team. Sheldon Augustus running in 19th, also a new name to the field. Daniel de Villiers of PWSR back in his mighty Nissan GTR Godzilla. Hopefully not going to do a Hanumiku beam as it's become a new meme. Brandon Kruger in 21st with Johan Blicknote currently sitting in 22nd. 23rd, Chris Biermeister also jumping in with a new team as Tim trying to find him as he comes out. Pandacity Infiltrate and Run van der Berg will be rounding out as we see Peterson still leading out the back with a 125.917. Michael Donaldson running in 2nd, trying to find him out with a 126.3. At the moment, Peterson on a great run through it all, but Donaldson looking to take the fight here. Jared Bukes, who was a little bit further down the field in previous seasons, has definitely stepped up the game, which is incredible to see. Running in 3rd. 4th place is a name that people do know lurking around. It's going to be his first full season under the PWSR name. Dean Nokia will be out on the track, a little bit slow, trying to get himself warmed up and ready to go. Brandon Kruger puts himself into 1st place for the Omnius Gaming KSR team as he charges his way towards that corner. Turn 1, having a great time, a 125.7. We are seeing a lot of drivers dropping a wheel in the dirt and having a tough time out there. De Villiers going and, having a bit of contact with the 722 car. And that is Tianas Buerta and Daniel de Villiers coming into a little bit of a tight situation in through the hairpin, turned round, and unfortunately getting caught out. Herman into the dirt, and the Honda now doing exactly what the Hondas do, going and mowing the grass at this point. Rowan van der Walt in 8th place, trying to make some time here, but unfortunately just not getting it right through the sectors. He has invalidated his time going into the dirt and just cutting the chicane a little bit too much on the way through as well. Tristan Herbst in 9th place, trying to push himself a little bit harder. Brandon Kruger leads out the pack with Peterson trying to retaliate with a 125.9. Donaldson still sitting in those 126s. So we've only got 2 cars that are in the 125s. Everyone else a little bit further down, but our top 7 are within a second of one another, and that's nothing to sneeze about. There is going to be a proper fight. Nonetheless, we're going to see some very, very interesting racing as it is a cold track. 13 degrees air temperature, 13 degrees track temperature, and a whole lot of tight racing. We also do have pit wall up if you want to keep an eye on all the live timing for all the race up ahead. 45 minutes is a lot of racing in a short time. De Villiers in 7th position now gets bumped down the ladder as he goes into 8th place, as not having a good time out there. Jason Farmer lying in 9th and now gets jumped down to 10th. There's Tyron straight from the bottom of the ladder. Tyron Liddon who's actually one of the newer names to the world of RaceFace, as he puts a wheel onto the dirt and gets himself rotated. Commentator's curse, welcome to RaceFace. Sorry about that. And he's unfortunately putting the wrong way, but got himself into 9th at the moment. Still 5 minutes and 7 seconds to go. Quali pace is definitely a must on this circuit, especially in a 45-minute. You want to give yourself the best foot forward for this race. Remember, the points scored here can win. It can make or break your championship at the end of the line. If we go back to previous with all our champions, and I'm going back to Luke Addison, Daniel Rowe, Jordan Sherritt, Cody Sherritt, and the list can go on and on and on. There has been a multitude of champions that it's come down to a single point that cost them the championship. Remember, this sprint race doesn't have classes like Pro, Pro-Am, and Am like we have tomorrow night. So everyone's on even footing here. You got to come first. You first need to be across the line and beat out your very stiff competition. Good to see that the Ford is getting a bit more love. Seen BOP has played into effect. Brandon Kruger was up on his lap time, but unfortunately, he went and cut the curb a little bit too much. Would have got a warning there. Time deleted. Game over. Thank you very much. You're going to have to go around again. Tires are going to definitely start hurting. Peterson trying to get that little bit of momentum going. Unfortunately, not having an easy time with the Mercedes. And now running into very stiff competition with it. And he's also cut the chicane right at the last. Dean Nokia trying to up his time. And so far, just matching it. Daniel De Villiers was 0.1 up on his lap time, but puts a wheel off into the dirt. Michael Donaldson now running in 5th place, trying to get that little bit of momentum underneath him. Not able to get across the line with the best of luck, so he's going to try and start another lap. And Karabukas having a fantastic time out there. Just gets a bit of a tank slap into the dirt, gets himself towed back to pits. Richard Finierda, though, has gone and done a fantastic drive thus far and is hoping to really push himself through the field. So we'll see how Richard is able to make his way up. 0.2 of a second faster than his previous. Herman Pervical is running with 0.1. Run for the Vault is 0.1. 0.2 now up on his personal best. Tennis Buerta currently improving his best, and Henry Platt is up 0.3 in the Aston Martin. Not many Aston Martins running this season. A lot of drivers preferring to go with the Ford, the Ferrari, and the McLaren as the fan favorites. Very little of Porsches have been discussed, and we're going to see how the drivers will contend with that during the course of the season, as we've got a multitude of very interesting tracks, very technical and high-speed circuits all coming into play. Richard Finierda, though, putting in a good time. 0.5 of a second faster than his personal best. That 126 may get a 125. Nope, this time 126.150 jumps him up into 5th place. Peterson trying to get that little bit of momentum, utilizing a bit of slipstream to get anything to get ahead of Brandon Kruger. Herman comes across the line, 0.3, now into 11th position. Great jump for him, doing a 126.4. Really got this pedal down, pushed that a little bit more. The Honda having a great time out there and still going and displaying proudly the drifting on the side. Goes and has a lot of fun with that and representing one of the drifting communities, one of the few actually that are lurking around. Jeffrey Doug LaRue going and running in 15th position, trying to get a little bit quicker through the circuit. Unfortunately, losing a bit of time into turn 1. That little bit of a late break cost him a bit of time, runs out a bit wide, wasn't quite happy there. Jason Farmer now trying to make his way through. He's currently 0.1 up on his personal best. Can move himself into the top 10, needs to move himself into the top 10. Chris Collison now running in 18th, is 0.3 up as he comes across the line with the mighty Mustang, only able to move up 1 position into 17th place. So not the ideal circumstance there for the likes of Chris, but we'll see how he can make his way through. Dean Nokia currently out by a 0.1 of a second, but take a look. First and second separated by 0.097, so it's going to be a proper chase between the front crowd. So going to be an interesting time to see how the drivers go and battle their way through. Dino Kia currently 0.2 up on his lap time and is now going a little bit quicker. May have an opportunity here to get into the top 3 as Conor Bergstrom going and getting 0.1 up on his lap time. Not able to improve just as yet, but Dino Kia going to come across the line. This may put him into the top 3 fight, and he gets it into the top 3 with a 125.882. Peterson looking to retaliate at this point, utilizing a bit of slipstream from the Honda ahead of him. He's going to have to really keep the power on, and seeing cars all over the circuit, touching a little bit of the grass there, still 0.1 up on his perfect amount. Going to have to go very late on the brakes to ensure he keeps it all together. Can he beat Brandon Kruger's 125.775? He needs at least to go a 0.2 quicker than his personal best to really stand across it all. But with qualifying over, last lap runs are needed from all the drivers. Tienes Puerta, 0.4 up, and he's gone off the track. He's cost himself that time right at the end, not working out. And it looks like Christoph Peterson caught behind the Griffin sim racing machine of Jason Farmer, and now won't be able to take that top spot. Brandon Kruger will hold first place, followed by Christoph Peterson, Dino Kia, and Kira Bukes running in 4th. Jason Farmer pulls into the pits, going and seeing he's not quite going to make it. Jeffrey Leroux going and giving it everything he's got, running in 15th, trying to get a little bit more pace. Can he put himself into that top 10? And unfortunately, not the case as he comes across the line and will have to wait yet again for another shot. Well, that's it, folks. Time to pack it all away and get ready to rock and roll for our round 1 of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series. And, well, it's getting dark out there. The sun's starting to set. It's becoming a little bit more of a problem. And the race will be starting in sim time at 8 o'clock. Now, for anyone that doesn't know how that's going to be, Donington doesn't quite have the lights have the lights to stick it out and keep cars going. So they're going to be relying on their headlights to ensure they hit every brake marker, to hit every apex, and ensure that they can score a victory. So let's cut down to our beautiful grid where we can see Brandon Kruger lining up in first place, ready to go. Christoph Peterson running in second. Will be charging around the outside through turn 1. And I'm taking a look to the virtual grandstands in our VIP sections. It's going to be a proper run. And I can see Mildred Claessen's a driver that usually goes and races in the series. He's waiting his time. I know I've been looking at jumping into a variety of different cars during the course of his sim racing career. Armour going in saying, how's it? Fleming Bauer going and waiting it out as well, not in the world of ACC. This is going to be a huge run, but what this has done, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to see a different champion. We are going to see an absolute fight till the very end here at Donington for round 1 of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series. And it is going to be an absolute battle. So we do see some of the lights coming on, the cars going up on those air jacks, just getting the tires on, doing final little bits of work to their cars to ensure that they're ready to go. But an absolutely stacked field, 24 cars on the grid for the GT3 Sprint Series. And considering it's round 1, well, it is to be expected, a little bit on the lower side, but a lot of these drivers are not using the same setup as they would use tomorrow night. They would be using the setup specifically built for 45 minutes. That means that everything is geared up just to last that little bit. Now, a couple of drivers have put at least an extra lap of fuel or 2 just to ensure they get across the line. With that being said, let's go through our grid one by one for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series. And We can see Brandon Kruger will be starting off the bat with Christoph Peterson in second place. Dean Nokia of PWSR running in third, followed by Kira Bucas. Richmond here is in fifth. Sixth, Michael Donaldson. Johan Blicknote in seventh. Eighth position, Connor Bergstrom. Rowan van der Walt in ninth. Sorry, that's Daniel de Villiers. That will be running in that ninth position. A little bit further down is Rowan van der Walt. Herman running in 11th. Jason Farmer running in 12th. Tristan Herbst down in 13th position with Tyron Lydon going in 14th. Jeffrey LaRue followed by Tiernas Buerta. Chris Coddleson in the 222 will be chased down by Dune from Skullfake. Then we've got Malambo Makoto. I do apologize for getting that name horribly wrong. We will get confirmation on it. Brun Liebenberg will be running in 20th. 21st, Henry Platt, followed by Brando DeSantos. Sheldon Augustus will be starting from pit lane, and unfortunately that's going to drop him down, but it does give the advantage for Chris Buemister to ensure he has the run up. So one car starting in pit lane, multitude of drivers ready to go, tight circuit, round one. Let's see who's been shaking off the ring rust during the course of the break and who is going to have a difficult time here at Donington. Brandon Kruger hoping to get a good start in the Mustang, but understeer is going to play a huge factor here to both the Ford and the Merc that are in the front row. So fully expect the mid-engine monsters of the Ferrari 296s of Dean Nokia and Kira Bucas in the Mustang as well, trying to get past as quick as possible. But Dean Nokia has an opportunity for a big run through the field. Richard hoping to get his way through as they make their way around the final corner, getting themselves going. 70 kilometers now. Drop it down, wait for the lights, and wait for the shout as Jim will be calling green. Our Chief Marshal, lights on, lights on.
Green light.
Come on, and away we go. Brandon Kruger off to a bit of a poor start. Peterson trying to get the jump into turn one and will go side by side. Unfortunately, not able to hold it. Will get pushed a bit wide. He's going to try and come back. Drops down into second place and will immediately put the charge. Dean Nokia running in third, very close by and hoping to get a great run. So far, all looking rather clean in terms of the fights. Dean Nokia in third, Kira Pukes currently running in fourth, but a huge fight going on in fifth place. Rich Vineyard, Michael Donaldson, and Daniel de Villiers are having a great fight. De Villiers stuck on the outside though, loses out to Donaldson. Now Blicknote will have a look on the inside, second guessed it, tried to see whether there's an opportunity. Herman trying to go and battle his way around. Connor Bergstrom going and driving around the outside of Rowan van der Walt, who got a poor drive. Jason Farmer will have the inside line heading into the chicane. This may be a bit problematic though. Climbs on the anchors. Can he make it through? Cuts the curb a bit. Both cars making it. But now Tyron going and having a quick sniff. So will the likes of Tristan Herbst. Looks up on the inside. Went 3 wide. Contact though with Tyron. And it looks like we have got Rowan van der Walt turned round. Tyron gets caught into the mix. And that unfortunately will bring them way down. Brandon's going to try and take a look. Rowan van der Walt trying to keep it all going. Tires are going to be hurting at this point as they make their way through, stuck on the outside. And immediately Brandon Santos will be trying to put up that chase as quick as he can. Chris Buemister going and chasing him down. It does look like Sheldon not getting out of the pits as we do have a bit of contact with Brandon and Chris going in. Will try and make his way through. He tries to make it 3 wide against Rowan van der Walt. And Brandon, he's not able to get it by. Backs off the throttle. Bit of contact in the background from Chris Collison. Getting shoved a little bit out of the way by Rowan van Lienberg as he tried to just go and move everyone out the way. Ensure he can stay in for the fight and keep his way going. Back up to the front end of the field. First place, Brandon Kruger feeling the pressure as Peterson's going to keep that nose firmly planted onto the rear of the car and ensure that maybe just a little mistake can creep up. Michael Donaldson having a fight with his own teammate, Johan Blicknote, as they're chasing down de Villiers. De Villiers getting a little bit of a horrible drive on the exit. immediately. Donaldson trying to have a look, not going to quite make it for the dive, backs out of it, but unfortunately Blicknote getting caught up in that mix. Connor Bergstrom getting a run out of the corner, has Herman all over the back of him. Herman looking around the outside. Is he going to have a good dive here? Unfortunately not the case. Tried to put the nose in, still keeping very, very tight to that apex, but unfortunately knocked down to have the drive in that twin turbo Honda. Unfortunately not quite in the power band to get him across that field as quick as possible, and we'll have to wait it out just a little bit longer through the twisties. Tristan Herbst feeling the pressure of Ruben van der Walt, who landed up in quite a few problems off the start of the race, and Chris Biermeister with Ruben Liedenberg, as we do see Chris Collinson going and losing the rear just a little bit behind as he gets that tank slapper, trying to keep that Mustang under control at this point. So far, quickest lap time has been set by second place, 126.8 on the run, so he is really looking to keep up that great drive. It's going to be a lot of hard work as Blicknote feeling the pressure from Connor Bergstrom on the back of him. Herman trying to go around the outside, was not close enough to make it work, and slowly that has helped Jason Farmer get into the fray. Jeffrey LaRue going and seeing Tianas Puerta keeping the pressure onto the back of him, and Tyron trying to make up some time after a bit of a rough start to his race in 14th position, and will need to keep the run as he tries the outside line. Tianas looked on the inside for Jeffrey LaRue. So Jeff is trying everything he can to defend and hope that he can hold them all at bay. Not an easy time out there. Runs out a little bit wide. That McLaren not getting onto the power as much as he would like. Thankfully, the competition facing that exact same issue behind, so they can work each other. But unfortunately for Brandon Santos and Ruben Liedenberg, they will be in two different types of machinery. The Ferrari 296, very quick through cornering, is able to get that little bit of dive. Well, the Mustang has a lot of top end, but you can see the rear just doesn't want to live with it. Kieran Buxai into the wall for the Stingers Racing. What has happened to the 333 as he's landed up getting it all wrong? Did he put a wheel on the dirt? Well, going through the corner, runs out a little bit wide. Mustang looking a little bit unsteady. Goes over the curb, unsettles the rear into the grass, and spears it into the wall. That is a lot of damage to the Stinger Racing Mustang, and he will be limping that car, trying to get back to the pits. Oh, and Brandon Santos into the dirt. The 127 having a bit of contact, looks like was with the 222. So he came off second best into the corner, lost out a little bit of time, got past the Stinger Racing Mustang, and had to deal with the likes of, is that Chris Collison? Yes, it is. It's Chris Collison. Turned round. The likes of Brandon into the wall. A little bit of contact on the rear was just enough to get him pointing in the wrong direction. Tyron trying to go around the outside of Tianas Puerta, who goes very defensive at this point. Looks for an undercut. Couldn't quite get that drive, and will have to wait up yet again. Closest run, though, is Brandon Kruger and Christoph Peterson. They're going blow for blow at each other. Christoph having a great run through the final corners, but in the sector one, not having an easy time. That being said, Brandon Kruger losing out that drive just a little bit more as we jump on board with Christoph as he makes his way in through the corners. You can see frantically trying to drag this Merc around the corners, not having an easy time there, constantly having an understeer as that front washes out underneath him. And track temperature is definitely not helping at this point. Richard from here is dealing with Daniel de Villiers, who's constantly chasing him down. Michael Donaldson hoping to keep up the pressure. The PWSR car is now needing to try and figure out how to defend against Donaldson in the OG Ferrari, and also go on the attack to the likes of Rich Van Eert just a little bit up the road, and will be fighting it out late on the anchors. Donaldson trying to go around the outside, not able to get it all going, and will have to wait a little bit longer. He's compromised his drive just enough for de Villiers to have a run down the short straight. Gets a tank slapper though. That's not going to help him out. Lost out that little bit of momentum. Donaldson immediately onto the back of him, and it looks like there may have been contact with the two of them, with Donaldson with a quick sorry on the flash lines there. Just say, sorry bud, don't want to cause too much of a problem there. little bit of contact, missed by brake marker by 1 or 2 meters. Tyron keeping the pressure on Tiernas Puerta. Jeffrey still keeping it together though, leading out this little trio and still pushing as high as he can. Kieran Bukes will be gaining a position as we do. Sorry, this is Brandon Santos. Kieran Bukes does pull into the pits. We saw his contact. Chris Mjevenster's contact as well into the wall, not having a good time out there. Michael Donaldson on the back of De Villiers fighting for that top 5, and it is De Villiers on a huge defend at the moment versus the likes of Michael Donaldson, and this Nissan GTR has proven to be quite a formidable foe over the course of the previous season in De Villiers' hand. Well, Donaldson is still trying to make up that little bit of ground, throwing the Ferrari in, ensuring he can stay. But unfortunately, one of our new drivers going and landing up into the dirt, trying to rejoin safely, and does so safely. Congratulations on that one. You don't want to have a rough rejoin. Tiernas Puerta getting out of shape though, and is into the dirt. What on earth happened to the 722 car? He had Tyron on the back of him, and Tiernas Puerta stuck in playing picky in the middle at the moment. Looks on the inside through the chicane, backed out of it. Couldn't quite get the drive, lost a bit of drive though, and Tyron unfortunately catching the rear of the car, turns him round. Thankfully not too much damage to the back of Tiernas Puerta. He will feel the rear getting a little bit light, as slight aero damage to the rear of that car will take the punch out of it, but is still carrying on the momentum. Dean Nokia finally catching up to Christoph Peterson, Logistical Nightmare Racing team, fighting against a known nemesis, the PWSR team. Dean Nokia in the car, representing in the top 3, up against Christoph Peterson of Logistical Nightmare Racing. We having South Africa versus the world at the moment. Brandon Kruger looking to run away from this fight as quick as he can. Richard feeling the pressure from the other PWSR car of Daniel De Villiers, with Michael Donaldson still keeping in tow. Both not having too much of a time. Donaldson gaining a lot of time under braking, and it looks like De Villiers going to go around the inside. He's got the run. Richard's lost out that drive, and it may be an opportunity. Michael Donaldson putting his nose in. Richard stuck on the outside, keeps the pressure on, gets a little bit squirrely. He's going to fight it out tooth and nail at this point. Donaldson stuck on the outside. Can he keep ahead of Richard? And that is not going to happen. The old Wiley Fox manages to hold the position, not to lose out too, but Blicknote onto the back of Donaldson will be going and telling his teammate, no pressure from behind. We are going to keep it going till the very last. Donaldson looks on the inside, tried to run the outside, couldn't quite keep it up, and needs to figure out how to gain a little bit of time as he sees Daniel De Villiers starting to open up that gap just a fraction more. Herman in 9th place has got the pressure from Jason Farmer, looks on the inside, and Farmer just taking a cautious approach, but putting his nose in just enough to say, I am here, mind out of the way. Connor Blicknote. Now, Connor Bergstrom going and fighting out. Johan Blicknote, apologies, in the Ford Mustang, is keeping the pressure on his own teammate, and both cars running very, very quickly, and drive-through penalty for Tristan Herbst. That is for track limits exceeded, and unfortunately goes and takes him out of that top 10 properly, and he will have to go through a really rough one. A bit of contact between teammates while they're fighting it out. Richard keeping a very defensive line. Blicknote going to try and overtake his own teammate. Donaldson goes on the defense of his own teammate. So these two are not talking to one another. It's no hold bars fight. And now this helps Connor Bergstrom get into this fight. Another little bit of contact between Johan Blicknote. Very, very slight every single time, as we do see Tristan Herbst minding out of the way. He landed into the grass. Now he's trying to rejoin safely because the pit lane is on the wrong side, and he just gets it into the pits, but nearly has Ruan Liebenberg get right into the rear of his car. He's having a difficult time out there. Drive-through penalty is definitely going to be a kick in the pants at this point, but they are losing that track limits, especially through the S's where they have to fight their way onto this. But Donaldson having a good run. Blicknote backed off him, and now where you got the fight of the Stallions, Connor Bergstrom is in for the chase at the moment and going after Blicknote as much as possible. The two teammates are now holding each other up and forcing a bit of a problem. Jason Farmer all over the back of Herman at the moment. Herman's doing a stunning job to hold his time as he goes late on the brakes, but not late enough. He went early on the brakes and allowed Jason Farmer. Jason Farmer got that run. So apologies, that was a switch for position, but Herman deciding he's not going and making up a bit of time here on the defense. He's rather going to go on the attack. So great to see it out there. Brandon Kruger opening a 1.3 second gap to Christoph Peterson in second. Dean Nokia running in third with the likes of De Villiers in fourth place. Rich Van Heerd going and running in fifth place. Michael Donaldson trying and still fighting in sixth. Seventh place is Jan Bluknote, Conor Bergstrom, Jason Farmer, Herman Pervical, along with the 11th place, Jeffrey Leroux. Ruben van der Walt in 12th. 13th is Tyron Lidden, along with Ruben Lindberg, with Chris Collison in 15th position. 16th, Henry Platt, Tianus Buerta going and keeping a bit of pressure onto him. Going to go side by side. Henry Platt going and taking the wide line, and Tianus Buerta making a swift pass on the inside. And Henry Platt now dropping down into 17th position and will immediately try and keep that pressure onto the back of him as much as possible. So far, Tianus Buerta soaking it up and is putting in a stunning effort, but just out of that top 15 as we Henry Platt going into the dirt. Nathan Skolfake going and running in 18th position and having a good run at the moment to stay in contention if Henry makes a mistake. Palumbo going and having a good run. He's running it in 19th. He's had a difficult race thus far, and Tristan Herbst looking to put the pressure back on as Brandon DeSantos into the pits. It means Herod Bukes will go and inherit a position, and also looks like Chris Biermeister may do the same. Donaldson trying to keep the pressure on Richard Finnear. This is still a huge fight at the moment, and I can see lots of different cheers. PWSR going and cheering on their drivers, but we are seeing two separate fights. Rich Finnear, Michael Donaldson of the OG, and Rich Finnear going and having a bit of time out there, and Jan Bluknote versus Conor Bergstrom at this point. All four cars are just doing everything they can. All four drivers are also looking to push themselves that a little bit more up the road and ensure they stay in for the fight through it all. Taking a look at the position and gains though, so far Daniel De Villiers has pulled a huge run through the field. He's actually gained 5 positions off the start of his race, and Lindbergh has gained 6 positions. Henry Platt has gained 4, and so has Jeffrey Leroux. 3 places for Jason Farmer at this point, but so far Herod Bukes down 17 positions from the start of his race. He started in 4th place, and after that impact with the wall has taken him way out of the fight. Tristan Herbst down 7 positions, and Ruben van der Walt currently down 2. So quite a few drivers still seeing whether they can make up that little bit of time, ensure that they can keep up the run. Ruben van der Walt getting a good drive out of the chicane, closing up at a rate of not. Leroux trying to go around the outside and does so. Can he carry the momentum though? He's stuck in a bit of a precarious position, comes across a nose of Ruben van der Walt, who instantly switches out, tries to go for the inside line, backs out of it, and will not be able to carry his way through, as we are seeing Jason Farmer tumbling down the order. The 369 car looks like he may have run into a bit of a problem, and it does look like it's the case. We have unfortunately lost one of the Griffin Sim Racing cars of Jason Farmer, having a bit of rough luck off the start of the race, the season. Now needs to try and figure out what's going on. Hopefully they can get that car back onto the track, and I know the entire Griffin Sim Racing team will be working frantically to get it across the line, because last thing you want to do is start off the season with a retirement and costing yourself a fair chunk of points. Rich Van Heerd dealing with Michael Donaldson. Side by side they go into the chicane, and so far Rich Van Heerd is not backing out of this. He's going to continue going. This is something we've seen in his real life racing, a very, very aggressive defensive driving style, and will make you earn that position. He's done it last season in the world of the GT3 racing here at RaceFace.Pro, but he's also continued it in his real life racing. Michael Donaldson's getting to experience it every bit of the way, door banging with both cars, and Bluknote constantly having to lift off the throttle, and that's allowing the likes of Conor Bergstrom to get back into the fight. Richard having a stunning race out there. He's going to have a big smile on his face as he enters into turn 1. This is off the rear of his car. You can see the likes of Donaldson keeping up that pace, wanting to still get into that fight no matter what at this point. Donaldson, unfortunately, losing a bit of time, and has his teammate constantly putting the pressure back on him, saying, come on, buddy, you need to keep that little bit of momentum to keep us in the fight, because Conor Bergstrom is not going to keep us going. He wants to get on by as quick as he can. Rich Finnier going and battling his way through. The 333, unfortunately, running off into the dirt, trying to let the leaders by, and does so. So Christoph Peterson having an easy time by to chase down Brandon Kruger, still 1.3 seconds up the road. As this is Tyron Lydon against Jeffrey LaRue, taking a little bit too much curb there, compromises his drive, unsettles the car, and also starting to put a bit of damage underneath the vehicle. And this means Aero is going to start feeling it during the course of the race. Something about this sim is always fantastic, where over time you get chassis fatigue on these cars during the course of the race. The more you go into the rumble strips, the more it's going to happen. Another little ding-dong battle as Richard holds that inside line. Donaldson, oh, Donaldson gets contact from his own teammate. Blicknote turning Donaldson round, under braking, and that is it. Richard getting the run, Conor Bergstrom, and Blicknote into the pits. Blicknote has retired. Has he retired the car? No, it can't be the case. He's pulled into the pits, and it looks like he may have just retired the car after contact with his own teammate. Donaldson got turned around trying to brake, and let's try and see if we can get an on board with the lights. This is off the TV cams. Let's see, maybe we can get a rear wing of shots. There we go, a little bit slow. Conor Bergstrom closing. Blicknote is just dodging and trying to make his way through, but not having that easy time. Unfortunately, that landed up with a bit of contact between the two. And that is going to be a very interesting competition in the, well, conversation in the pits. Brandon Kruger putting in some banger lap times with a 1:26.050, but Christoph Peterson retaliating at this point, going and getting very, very close. Last lap time, though, Peterson was faster, 1:26.3 against Brandon Kruger's 1:26.355. So Peterson put the hammer down. He's going to continue the fight at this point and really fighting his way through. And we are getting a huge talking with Dutex Simworks actually giving a bit of an interesting tell. So Brandon Kruger is apparently in a brand new rig. So correct me if I'm right, is he in a Dutex sim rig? Now that's a South African, a locally made sim rig that he may actually be piloting at the moment, and that is completely different to what he had, because he would be in the Addy rig at this point. Side by side as Tristan trying to get past Malumbo, who's not making it easy on his debut outing. Side by side into turn 1, and contact between the two. Tristan Herbst with a bit of understeer. Malumbo getting turned round, and Tristan giving that little bit of time to allow Malumbo to get back onto the track. And unfortunately, that has cost them both a bit of time, but a bit of gentleman shown. And that's something, an unwritten rule in the world of sim racing. If you have that bit of contact, you do turn, drive around. It's always just wait a little bit, give him the position. Yes, you may land up with a penalty later on, but that little bit of respect of, that's not the way I want to do it. I'd rather go fighting properly in terms of it. So now let's see if Makoto will handle Herbst at the moment, who's trying once again around the outside. He's gained a lot of time through this last two corners, and they're keeping their proper fight. So Dutex going and saying it's actually a rig that was won. So Brandon Kruger going and trying and getting his lucky rabbit foot out once again and fighting it out in first place. So big shout out to Dutex giving us that little bit of information down in the pits. Macondo losing out to Tristan Herbst, now keeping the pressure on him. Will look to try go for the inside line through the final corner. Maybe, just maybe, he has enough, as we do get Liebenberg, who unfortunately put it into the dirt. Now Chris Collison keeping a huge amount of pressure. As we see, Connor Bergstrom is now going to chase down Rich Fanier. He's seen the fight between Donaldson and Richard. Let's see if he will be able to go for the fight once again. Connor Bergstrom, a monster fighter in terms of it, prefers to be that prize fighter in the world of sim racing. Well, Rich Fanier is looking to test that hugely at this point, as he's constantly keeping himself and making that Ferrari as wide as possible. Tienes Buerta and Ruben Liebenberg going and trying side by side. Tienes Buerta gaining that position and will continue to hold on to that 13th position on the exit. Ruben trying to make up a little bit of time, unfortunately not in the toe enough to get himself into the hairpin before Tienes Buerta, and we'll have to wait it out once again. Henry Platz in 15th position will continue to put that pressure on the back and say, come on buddy, I need that run, so give me a little bit of a toe, as Ruan for the Panassi team touching the grass, and Henry of the Omnis Gaming not able to get the drive, will wait it out, and Van Skalkvik is just lurking in the wings, and this is not playing into the favor of Henry, as he is caught in a teammate sandwich at the moment. He runs out a little bit wide, not able to get the momentum through. We're down to 20 cars, unfortunately. There's been quite a bit of retirees during the course of this race, and we are definitely having that monstrous fight to and fro from every single one of the drivers. And to quote the likes of John Whitfield, we're about to see a fight where you're either going in with a sword or you're going in with a gun. And so far, drivers are doing exactly that. Henry Platt loses out to Van Skalkvik by dropping a wheel into the dirt and losing out a bit of time, unfortunately, down into 16th position. Brandon Kruger still holding that first place with Christoph Peterson in second. Dean Nokia dropping down 4.4 seconds. Not ideal circumstances here, and is battling it out in third place. Just not getting the drive he wants out of the corners. We'll have to wait it out nonetheless, as everyone's standing on edge. Christoph Peterson now suddenly 0.4 of a second. Brandon Kruger may have done too much to his tires and has compromised him a little bit here. Christoph Peterson has gone back onto the attack. So with under 20 minutes of this race left, and we're in the dark of the night, Christoph Peterson will look to put the pressure as we jump on board our helmet cam, taking a lot of the curb there. He's got to be very, very careful doing that. Tristan Hibbs has already landed up with the drive-through penalty for pushing his luck a little bit too far. And it looks like we're going to have it once again as our leaders are finding out. Connor Bergstrom also going up on his ABS to just make sure he can brake a little bit harder to catch up to Rich Vanier. You can see also utilizing all the curb, all the runoff as much as possible. Richard not backing down from the fight, will look to try and defend in that Ferrari 296 and has done a fantastic job. Peterson around the outside. Brandon Kruger moves slightly to the middle. That took the drive out. Peterson now needs to try and get his foot on that throttle and do everything he can to try and pull away from the Merc. Peterson still putting in everything he can forward to ensure maybe, just maybe, he could get that first place back. As Brandon Kruger holds a very defensive line, flames spewing out the side of the Ford Mustang as he goes rapidly down the gears, trying to use a bit of engine braking and use a little bit less of the brake pads as everything fades ever so slightly. Track now down to 10 degrees. Tires starting to drop off. This is a bad situation for a lot of these drivers that have pushed too hard at the beginning. Brandon Kruger's lost that drive. Peterson up on the inside. May have the send into the hairpin. He's going to try. Gets his nose locked in forward, side by side. A little bit of contact between the two. And Peterson getting the drive out of the corner. Brandon Kruger losing it out through the hairpin, trying to retaliate at this point. and just getting under understeers. That nose washes out on the Mustang and not able to push himself out a little bit more. So change up for first place as Peterson now looks to put a bit of a gap to the likes of Brandon Kruger. And while these drivers were fighting it out, I want to point out Dean Nokia was 4.4 seconds in the run, is now 1.8 and is going to battle his way through. So drivers are going to keep it all together and see where everything is. On Skulltag against Henry Platt, trying to make up a bit of time, and is not having an easy run there. So let's see how everyone's going to go. I can tell you Cameron Bastos, who is out there keeping an eye on our virtual grandstands, is going and chatting. But a big turn of events. Brandon Kruger has got a drive-through penalty, took too much curb. That's it. He has outed himself from the top 3. Brandon Kruger will not finish in the top 3 at this point. With a drive-through penalty added, Connor Bergstrom going to go side by side with Richard van Heed. Michael Donaldson and Ruben van der Vault have come to blows. So they out into the dirt. Richard trying to go around the outside and unfortunately into the dirt. Connor Bergstrom made dead sure to hold that line as much as possible. So Donaldson and Ruben van der Vault going off into the dirt, and that might have been Turnus Buerta. Yes, he does. Turnus Buerta outbraked himself, lost out the drive. Donaldson down yet another position out of the top 10 as Chris Coulson getting a phenomenal drive, breaks away quickly, and that has done it. But big news, Brandon Kruger has tried his luck as many times before, and unfortunately our stewards watching on, going and deciding track limits exceeded, buddy. You're about to get the big stick. And unfortunately, it's gonna hurt. So Brandon Kruger out of that top running position, but he cannot get off the power just as yet, as he can make up that little bit of ground. Top 5 is a possibility here if he keeps it all together. Malumbo, unfortunately, landing in the dirt. He's a little bit slow on entrance and exit, just having a difficult time finding his brake markers into the dark. Here at Donington, not an easy circuit, as there's not much to look at in these cars to ensure you're in the right place. Small little bollards that used to be on the corners, unfortunately, getting knocked down during the course of the race as cars try their lucks on the track limits. And Van der Vault very close to Donaldson, who's just slipping down the field. Unfortunately, after a bit of contact with his teammate, the constant climb has been a difficult one nonetheless, and Van der Vault looking to quickly put the pressure on Michael Donaldson, trying to keep a cool head. Van der Vault goes off into the dirt, battling to get it back, spins across the nose of the field. Turnus Buerta gets on by. Van Skolkvik says thank you, Henry Platt says thank you, and Van der Vault tried his luck, got close to the sun, and like Icarus, unfortunately burned up. And now Tristan Herbst goes and sees a Van der Vault with tire pressures gone through the roof after that slide. He's going to have to take a little bit of time to cool things and get himself back into the mix. So Peterson will be smiling ear to ear here, knowing that the drive-through is for Brandon Kruger, and he has essentially a good bit of gap of roughly 2.6 seconds to Dean Nokia, who would inherit that second place and have a go, as we do see Donaldson coming to a halt and Donaldson pulling off a circuit. What has gone on with Michael Donaldson? So this is where it all went wrong. Donaldson slow on the exit, gets inside loss of drive, and has packed it in. No. That is braking, turning. Donaldson may have just retired the car. And it does look so. Michael Donaldson has retired the car. Brandon Kruger has just gone into the pits. Dean Nokia is now up into second place. The OG team has had it all going wrong during the course of this race, and Michael Donaldson's out. Turnus Buerta, though, trying to keep the car all together. Got a bit of a slow slug side, and that has put him into the wall. The 722 having a difficult one. Now, we always talk about that slow side. Listen very closely to the engine of the 722 car. Sorry, this is Brandon Kruger. And where is the 722? Just listen on board. You can hear that traction control kicking in, and it actually drags the car. You just get into this horrible slide that you can't power out of, you can't brake, and he just battles to bring it all back into the dirt. Not much you can do there, and will be battling to keep that car in check as Van der Vault keeps the pressure on him. Brandon Kruger comes out of the pits and falls out of the top 5, and will get right behind Richard van Heerd, who I think is getting sick and tired of seeing the green and black behind him, but is more than prepared to put the fight on. Conor Bergstrom is going to be quite happy with this and continue on, opening that 1.3 second gap to the likes of Richard. So huge events there. Van Schalkwyk feeling the pressure. Henry Platt onto the back of him, trying to make up a bit of time. The Aston Martin just not having the luck of the draw. Tennis Buerta, Van der Vault is now in for the fight as well. So huge play. It is logistical nightmare. Christoph Peterson running in first, Dean Nokia of PWSR Alpha in second, and Daniel de Villiers running in third for the PWSR team. PWSR lying second and third at this point, and I know there is going to be the entire grandstands erupting with excitement on that one as they continue the drive. And what a banger race for them, and a good foot forward for the team. Rich van Heerd still keeping on the back of Conor Bergstrom, and Richard for the RVH Racing is not going to back down. Brandon Kruger has got everything to gain and everything to lose. He started so high up and got that fantastic qualifying, but unfortunately Lady Luck has not been kind and dropped him down the order. Tennis Buerta still defending with Van der Vault, closing that gap. Drivers seeing that they've got 10 minutes left of the, or 10 minutes 30 seconds left of this race here at Donington, and I know many drivers will be going and saying, why on earth is this taking so much time? Why is this becoming such a problem? To race around in the dark as Tennis Buerta gets out of shape. Van der Vault as well, putting the wheel on the dirt. Compromise the drive. Tries to go late on the anchors. Can he get it on the inside? He clips the curb on the inside. And unfortunately, that bottoms the car out, throws it into the dirt. And now having to regain it just before Tristan's going to come on by. Storms on past Van der Vault, giving that a little bit of time, allows the cars to get on by as he then restarts his race. Not a great time for him, but it's still circulating nonetheless. And I've got to take a big hats off to the drivers that do try and get across the line. It's one thing constantly say, you can't be in for the win if you're not in it, full stop. Try and get these cars across the line. There's points to be gained wherever you are, and it can be that make or break for the championship. And many drivers unfortunately not going and having that luck and opting to rather put it into the pits. Van Schalkwyk with Liebenberg just ahead, getting a little bit more of a drive. Henry Platt running in 13th position, hoping to catch up to Van Schalkwyk, who is now in a bit of a sticky situation. Do you go on the attack or do you wait it out at this point? Dean Nokia running in second place now is 2.1 seconds behind Christoph Peterson and will continue to keep up that chase. And Cameron Nell going and radioing in that this championship is definitely going to be a tight one. Looking at everything going on, it's going to be close, it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be a tough one. But this is why we love the sprint series. And for everyone, just to let you know, this may actually be the final GT3 sprint series on ACC on a Wednesday night for RaceFace.Pro. There is rumors going out that we will be jumping to LMU next season. So if you want to get the win and be the final crown for this, well, this might be it. Because at the moment, there may be a new sim taking up a Wednesday evening. So all the drivers have got so much to play for and the crown to go for. Dean Nokia now taking it forward for the South Africans to take on our international contingent of Christoph Peterson. who looks to gain so much, and also going with such a big change from the usual Honda he's raced for many, many years and many, many seasons throughout the RaceFace history and logistical nightmare history, and is still racing the Honda in ERA. So in the International, this is his debut outing in a front engine car in competition. So Mercedes working out for him, going to be a proper fight, as Brandon Kruger has got the proper fight on hand, looks on the inside of Rich Fanidi, who gets the drive through the hairpin. This is going to be interesting for the final run. Brandon Santos getting back out onto the track. Great to see. Jason Farmer is also getting himself back in. That's fantastic for the Griffin Sim Racing. He disconnected with an internet issue, and I can say Jason Farmer is back. They've got that car back out into pit lane. He's going to wait that little bit longer and get the car out for the Griffin Sim Racing. Bravo, bravo, get it out there. That's fantastic to see for the likes of Jason Farmer. And once again, reiterating, you got to be in it. Well, Richard, going to be in it into the dirt, runs out wide. There's going to be a lot of pickup on those tires. He's going to have to try and get it off as quick as he can, because Brandon Kruger is right up his tailpipes, looking around the outside yet again into the hairpin. Can't quite get it all together. Tries for the undercut. Richard still keeping the pressure. These two are going to force each other into the chicane. Yes, this is going to be a rough one here. Brandon Kruger having the legs with that Mustang, but Richard side-by-side contact between the two. Richard going and losing out the drive. Brandon Kruger still continuing on. A little bit of a problem there. Brandon, unfortunately, a small ding in the door at this point, will try and power his way through. So going to be a very, very interesting fight nonetheless at this point, but Richard's going to have to gain back a second. Talking about that, Dino Kier 1.3 seconds to our leader in the last 5 minutes and 26 seconds. Will we see a lead change? Well, at this point, Dean has an opportunity, as Christoph has gone a little bit slower on his last lap, a 126.9, while Dean running a 126.8 on that last lap. So keep an eye on these two, and now they're catching up to a bit of the back markers. This is going to be a tough time for Peterson, as he doesn't want to be caught out in the corners, trying to get as much momentum as possible as he gets on by. That is the likes of Mikando going and hitting the brakes a little bit, allows both the leader and second place to get on by. Fantastic spatial awareness. But ladies and gentlemen, there we go, Griffin Sim Racing, and honestly a huge smile to my face. The never quit, the never give up attitude. He is down 16 laps, but man, oh man, gotta give it up for Jason Farmer, back on track yet again. And we're getting reports from the drivers down in the pits. Unfortunately, it is Michael Donaldson. Got a puncture as I was in the corner, and car went straight into, spin into the wall. Is that Michael Donaldson? No, that might, we'll have to, just want to double check the Kifu that is currently standing and got to work stuff as well, so not able to finish. Fair enough. When duty calls, duty calls. It's still unfortunate to see retirement nonetheless, and to have damage to the car after a puncture does go and take a lot of that drive out. But we will, yes, it's Michael Donaldson. Okay, so we're getting reports there, and that was the reason for Michael Donaldson's retirement. It is unfortunate, but when duty calls, unfortunately. Still would have been nice to see you back out on track. Brandon Santos is in the server and is possibly to go out yet again. I really, really hope they can get that Mustang out on the track and carry on the momentum. So 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go, and Christoph Peterson leading out the pack. Dean Nokia running in second place, with De Villiers running in third. PWSL second and third at the moment. That is going to be a good start for them. And great bit of motivation. Conor Bergstrom running in fourth place, with Brandon Kruger hot on the heels now. So it's cleared Richard by 2.6 seconds and now has to battle against Conor Bergstrom, who will defend tooth and nail at this point to maintain his position, as he wants to stay in that top 5 after everything possible. And we are getting reports, Brandon Santos back out on track. Both Griffin Sim Racing cars are out on circuit. Congratulations to that team. And that must have been incredibly hard work for both of them. DeSantos landed in the wall a short time ago, and this is just fantastic to see them going and racing once again as he goes side by side with one of our Stinger Racings, and that's Craig Bukes, who is now clearing. He's in 18th position, puts yet another lap on Brandon Santos, and they know that there is no fight there. But Craig Bukes getting led on by, saying, come on, buddy, you pull me along at this point. Christoph Peterson, Dean Nokia keeping it rather close. It is 1.5 seconds between them heading into the final corner. It's going to have to really stand on the gas, but it is an opportunity here. Dean hoping to break the mold. Christoph Peterson looking to get a great foothold in the championship and possibly the final season of the RaceFace.Pro ACC GT3 Sprint Series. And at the moment, Brandon Kruger is in that top 5, so he's trying to make the climb after going through the pits, which cost him roughly 22.7 seconds. So he is still in for a monstrous fight, and I'm sure frustration is now starting to warn off, refocusing his efforts to keep it going. And Richard not backing out from the fight here, but will take a look in his mirrors as Herman has closed up the gap. The Apex Titans Racing Honda is now hot on the charge with that 44 colors and is doing everything he can to stay in for the fight. So some great racing going through, a bit of the teams going out and shouting, and there is a shout out to Jeffrey LaRue, who is in the top 10 after some time. Oh, Daniel De Villiers gets a very slow exit though, and that has Conor Bergstrom immediately on the back of him. De Villiers actually landed up losing out so much time, and Conor Bergstrom may take that third place. 0.3 of a second, 7 seconds to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we will get reports that Christoph Peterson is on the final lap, and it's Bergstrom to take away that third place. Richard going and fighting Herman, and Brandon Kruger has lost out time. Brandon Kruger has really lost out a lot. Herman gains a spot, and so does Richard Frenier. Brandon Kruger's gone down the order. The 87 lost so much time, and it looks like Richard stuck on the outside, lost out a little bit of drive. Herman into the top 5, Richard down into 6th, and we are seeing fights all over. This is a huge turn of events in the final lap. Conor Bergstrom has an opportunity here to take this top 3. This will be a huge slam dunk for him in the Mustang. De Villiers has to pull out every defense. The Hitman will have to go back on it. Brandon Kruger gets on by Richard Hitter. They had a bit of off tracks. Bergstrom on the outside. The Hitman having to go very defensive. Once again, Kruger and Rich Vanier very, very slow. Tremendously slow. No ways. No. Richard Vanier is out of fuel. Brandon Kruger is out of fuel. Both cars are out of fuel. Both cars are out of fuel. Brandon Kruger and Richard Vanier on the last lap. And it looks like is De Villiers out of it. He is. De Villiers is out of fuel. So Daniel De Villiers is out of fuel, loses third. Conor Bergstrom will get the win, third place. So it's Christoph Peterson, Dean Nokia. De Villiers is down into 4th. And Herman, determined for De Villiers to get across the line, is trying to give him a bit of a bump, and that's going to compromise both. Tyrant robs them at the last. So, well, the likes of Herman is trying to help De Villiers. Tyrant has gone and stolen it across the line. De Villiers will get across in 5th with Herman in 6th. LaRue getting 7th. Chris Collison has got up by Brandon Kruger, has run out of fuel, and Tristan Herbs, who is trying to assist him at this point. And Brandon Kruger has turned round. No! We are seeing guys trying to help each other. Tristan Herbs, at this point, is trying to help his teammates across the line. We have seen so much drama for so many as drivers have run out of fuel right at the end. LaRue getting 7th, and if it was just a little bit more, he would have scored 5th position. But we are watching Brandon Kruger getting assisted by Tristan Herbs, and once again, what a race. Herman, who is currently out there on the pit wall, I take my hat off to you. You lost out the position you could have gained, but you definitely earned the respect to go and push a car off across the line. Wow, oh wow. Well, I think there's a few people that are going to be going back to the calculators after this one. Brandon Kruger finally getting across the line with the likes of Tristan Herbs helping. Man, oh man. I thought we seen it all, and on a night that is quite sentimental to myself, we've always heard you got to pave the way forward in the world of motorsport. Well, going and helping each other cross the line and sacrificing your spots is exactly that. We got to see it all, and well, who would have guessed? Rich Van Heerden running out of fuel, Brandon Kruger out of fuel, De Villiers out of fuel. It has all come apart at the seams, and if you want to talk about a season that has already flipped the script, turned it on ahead, and in the world of commentary, you can never say what is going to be the outcome of a race. And I was told that at the age of 6 by the likes of John Whitfield, and we get to see it. Man, oh man, what a race. So we're going to see if we can get a couple of people for some chats while we take a look at some of the racing highlights out there. Christoph Peterson taking the win, Dean Nokia in 2nd place, and Connor Bergstrom going and taking 3rd right at the last. We're hoping to have a bit of a chat with them, but we are going to have a chat with some of our grandstands that must be going a bit wild out there, as we do see Brandon Kruger going and slamming his head against the table at this point after running out of fuel. Herman, P4 was never his goal. 12th, and I'm happy for P6. Up 6 positions, and Herman, fantastic stuff. If you do want to pop into the commentary box, it would be beautiful to have a chat to you. But that went all sideways. Let's see if we can get a bit of chats with people in the grandstands. And we do have a person that can have a chat to us, who, let's see if we can pull in Cameron DeBastos. So, with that being said, let's try and see if we can get Cameron DeBastos possibly for a chat. And we seem to be having slight difficulty with audio coming through for a strange reason or another. Multiple microphones, here we go, try our luck. And unfortunately, it looks like we're battling to get some sense of audio to come through to our commentary box. Why, oh why, would there be this type of issue? let's see if we can possibly get these audio. I do apologize once again for the technical difficulties. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and this is exactly what we land up having some moments in the world of technology. Let's try and get a bit of input from our stuff. So I'm frantically with Tim the cameraman trying to get some of the audio to come through. Apologies yet again for the issues that we seem to be having at this point. So let's see if we can get this audio to come through possibly, and for some odd reason we're not able to get that audio to come through, and we will have to see how this goes. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, not able to get the audio through to have a chat with our winner, Christoph Peterson, and landing up with a bit of an issue there. We will get that fixed out for the next race nonetheless. So congratulations yet again, Christoph Peterson getting a first place and taking the win for this race of round one. Second place going to likes Dean Nokia and Conor Bergstrom getting a win in third place. Thank you very much to everyone sitting out in the grandstand. It's been an absolute honor. Once again, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with John Whitfield and the Tyre family and friends. It does mean a lot, and I can tell you that it means bucket loads to them. We're in for an incredible season here at RaceFace.Pro, so make sure that you tune in tomorrow, because we're in for a whole nother fight at this point, where drivers will be having to step up the pace, see where they can go, and who is going to get the win. Win, lose, or draw. That is the main game of the race. And tomorrow night we will be starting at 8:10 with our race. So tune in for tomorrow night's race. It's going to be an 80-minute race with 2 mandatory pit stops and everything to go for in the RaceFace's biggest series here. 3 servers to take each other on. My name is Stephen Koenig from THT. On behalf of all the petrol heads, motorsport, and all the sim racers, we'd like to say a big thank you to John Whitfield for paving the way, and a massive thank you to our sponsors here at RaceFace. Rhino Utility jumping on board for the first time in RaceFace history. Scallywags Drifting Academy, and along with Red Star Raceway. We'll see you guys tomorrow night with some more action. 2 different streams. Tristan Herbs jumping in the Pro-Am, myself in Pro. And like always, a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.